And welcome to another instalment of the Three Muscateers. I'm Chris Deacon, your resident Booze Hound. On my left we have Ken Gargett, the scribe to the stars. And on our right we have Peter Scudamore, recently abducted by aliens, cultivator of all things cultural.
Let's go.
So today we're doing 3 Chardonnays from 3 different areas. And number 1 we have the Richard Hamilton Almond Grove, and I think they're all 2021s, aren't they?
You'd have to look.
Tis so.
They are?
Tis so. All 21.
All 21s, there you go. Mm-hmm.
Over to you, Ken.
21's a fantastic vintage in all sorts of places in Australia. You don't normally think of McLaren Vale for Chardonnay, but that's got lots of flavour, good fruit, it's nicely made, it's balanced, it lingers. I wouldn't necessarily be putting it down for 10 or 20 years, but drink it over the next couple of years, I think thoroughly pleasant.
I quite like the nose on that one. I think it's got a little bit of interest and a little bit of funk and a little bit of you know, a little bit different on the nose. On the palate, I don't like it quite so much, but still pretty good booze.
To me, the struck match gunflint aroma, which results in the funkiness. This is very refreshing, very refined. As we say, it's unusual to see McLaren Vale producing Chardonnay. It's disappearing from that region because it's getting too warm. Most of the McLaren Vale producers go up the hill to the Adelaide Hills. This is very clean, very austere, and a lovely drink now wine. Very little oak, even though it's had oak. So yeah, I like it.
If you go, but I think I'd have to check, but I'm pretty sure the very first Yatana had a percentage of McLaren Vale Chardonnay in it, which, I mean, you don't see, that's all Tassie or Adelaide Hills and so forth and things. But I've got a feeling they were using McLaren Vale fruit back when they first did Yatana.
It's probably part of the experiment, but they would have knocked it out quite quickly.
It didn't last long.
As things got warm.
Yeah, well, and look, if you've got a vineyard, why wouldn't you plant it with something like Shiraz or Grenache, given the prices you get for that?
Or the Mediterranean varieties, Fiano and Vermentino are now coming into there.
If you want to,
instead,
Oliver's are doing some great stuff, and plenty of the other guys.
Are they all that scared of global warming that they're ready to uproot stuff that might be okay?
Well, it's just top grafting, so you just change the variety. And as I said, there's so much Chardonnay grown in the Adelaide Hills, which is competitive in being more fruity, more acidic, more lengthy, and keep the sort of fuller-bodied varieties from around the Mediterranean rim for replanting.
Okay, so number 2 is the Ridgemill WYP from Pete McGlashan's mob up there at the Granite Belt. And similarly, a really interesting nose. I really quite like the nose on that.
It's got a bit of oak to me. Maybe at this early stage a fraction too much, but I think that's going to sort itself out in time. So, I mean, drink this one while you're waiting for that one.
So this is their top one, isn't it, Scuds?
Correct.
Done in French oak, isn't it?
The reason for this is it had a gold and silver medal in the last few months. Just got pipped by Coal River, Tasmania in Cairns for the best Chardonnay of the show, and did quite well in Brisbane Wine Show last month. So it's a blend of 3 districts in the Granite Belt, not just one vineyard, but three sub-districts, and some are full and peachy, so you see the full peachy fruit, and the rest is the austere and linear acidity, which is so important for keeping Chardonnay these days.
It's got serious length, because I mean, I'm still tasting that. It really has got good length. I mean, these are the guys, if you're thinking Chardonnay on the Granite Belt, you'd certainly start with these guys. I think they do a great job.
And they've been doing it for a decade.
Yep.
And that peach just wades through the entire finish on this wine. It's really very clever.
And the lemon juice and the cereal and the crispy acidity, which is there.
That oatmeal character.
Yeah, oatmeal, cereal, which is Lee's essentially. Yeah, top wine.
It is a very, the only hesitation I've got at the moment is that oak, but I think that's going to sort itself, and I think...
I'd really like to see this with 5 years age on it. I think it'd all really come to the fore and start to look very clever.
Yeah, so this brand does well in competitions in New Zealand, so amongst similar coal region wines, so yeah, it's one to watch.
Unlike our rugby team.
I haven't got there yet.
I think they just had cancelled visas.
They're going to Melbourne, are they?
I think they'd be going into a large hole and not coming out of it.
So number 3, we have the Mosswood Ribbon Vale Chardonnay 2021. Once again, a little bit of interest on the nose, which I don't get enough from modern day Chardonnays. I don't get enough happy on the nose, you know. You get that generic sort of smell. I think these of all 3 of these have a little bit of interest on the nose, and I think that's very important.
I think that one's more refinement, more finesse, more class, more focus, terrific balance. This is a really good Chardonnay for me. Margaret River. Good future.
I guess where the WIP Ridgemill has a peach hit on the nose to attract you, this wine doesn't, so it doesn't look ripe, overripe, which I object to. I want underripe, I want refinement, and this has got the lemon citrus, and it goes all through the palate, along through the weight, and it's got more length than, it's the top wine of the day, of the 3 Chardonnays. It's got so much flavour and intensity.
And what sort of dollars does this come in at, Scuds?
Oh, 55, 60.
Gee, that's a good value. You know, when you look at entry-level Begonia for that sort of price, and you can buy this for that sort of price, for me, there's no contest.
This is the wine of them. I really like that for a lot of reasons, but this is the wine today. And honestly, if you looked at the pedigrees and the histories, track records, there'd be something wrong if that wasn't the wine of the day, you'd think.
Yeah. In terms of position, Mosswood obviously have their home vineyard in Mosswood. Ribbon Vale is 3 kilometres up the road, and it's a lot cooler vineyard than Mosswood, so the Mosswoods tend to be more muscular and soak up oak. So this is still a pretty oaky wine, but it's got so much flavour running through it, and that lemon brulee just keeps going and going and going. It's a very classic Margaret River, cool climate.
Yeah, the length on this wine is really very impressive, and for such almost austere wine to have such a breadth of palate is really very clever, I think.
If I had this to compare against a Merceau, I don't know which one I'd tick for.
I know what you'd tick for in the
value. Price bracket.
Yeah. Oh, yes, very much so.
Well, you couldn't even get into Merceau for that sort of money.
No, this is...
So we're getting the wave for the wrap up here. I hope this has helped you out with your Chardonnays. We've got 3 quite different styles of Chardonnay. So it's a good night from us, and I hope you've enjoyed that, and I hope it helps you out with your next choice of high-end Chardonnay, because they're very, very good wines. Thank you, Scud, for turning up. And
more of it, I'll come again.
Thank you, Ken, for your wise words.
Thanks for the 2 watchers still there.
Yeah, so you ought to be.
If you like the wines the boys tried today, click the link below. Glassware supplied by RK. Ken, Peter and Chris prefer camel jerky, the wine lover's jerky. This has been a Three Muscateers production.
There in the other night.
The length